Hi there, this is Ella Starr coming to you to discuss some key races on Saturday, April 3rd. This is a podcast version of the Key Races and Bets blog available at amwager.com, amwager.com, a great legal online betting source, legal in most states and covering most tracks in North America with some great tools. You can also get the written version of this by going to amwager.com, clicking on How to Bet and Ella Starr's blog. We're going to start with the Commonwealth Stakes, race 7 at Keeneland. This is a post of 424 Eastern. And I think Hidden Scroll is a standout here in spite of opening as the second choice to 5-2. I really don't get the 8-5 warning line afforded Flagstaff, who's just one of his last 8 going back to the beginning of 2020. And he was only really close to winning one of the other 7 when beaten ahead. Furthermore, trainer John Sadler just seems to not know what to do with Flagstaff. He put blinkers on for his stakes last month. He takes them off now. That's just something I have no confidence in. Hidden Scroll came back from 6 months off last month in a highly rated allowance race, changing barns to Brad Cox. No knock on Bill Mott, but I think he got sour in the Mott barn, especially when they tried him on turf. This is the horse that won his debut by 14 lengths back in January of 2019 and was on Derby Trail. Now he's back on dirt, and he should run very well second off the layoff. Horses used in the exotics include Attachment Rate, who ran the best race of his career last time in February, the end of February, in a one-turn mile, so he should really appreciate the cutback to 7 furlongs. And Hogtree Hustle, who rallied to miss by a head in a stakes quality allowance race at Keeneland at this 7 furlong trip last fall. I think in the Commonwealth Stakes, the play should be Hidden Scroll, a low-odds overly win bet at 3-2 or higher, and play some exacta boxes of Hidden Scroll and Attachment Rate, and Hidden Scroll and Hog Creek Hustle. Can also play some doubles here, just using Hidden Scroll in race 7, and in race 8, the Shakertown Stakes, we're going to use Imprimis, Turn to Side, Bound for Nowhere, and Hollis. Moving on to race 8, the Shakertown with a post of 457. This is a nice 5.5 furlong turf sprint with a field of 13. And I'll give Turn to Side slight preference because he opens at 6-1. A newly turned 4-year-old, he's making his second start for 3 months off and changing barns. He didn't run that well at 5 furlongs, but he's going to appreciate the 5.5 furlong trip because that's where he won the Turf Dash Stakes, the Aqueduct Turf Sprint Championship, with a career best 113 Equibase speed figure, as good as any horse in the race. He gets a good post in the middle of the gate, can stalk whoever goes for the lead, and I think he's gone really well running second off the layoff and getting an extra half furlong. Bound for Nowhere is certainly a contender. He shows up every time. He's got 6 wins, 2 seconds, and a third in his 10 U.S. starts, all turf sprints, and he especially loves Keeneland and this race. He won it in 2018. He missed by a neck in 2019 and last July. And the outside post helps Bound for Nowhere to avoid any traffic issues, and he should be in front or inches away at the wire. He's always there. Imprimis won this race in 2019 and beat Bound for Nowhere by a neck. He's won 3 of 8 U.S. races since then. And if you toss his 2 Breeders' Cup turf sprint tries against some of the best turf sprinters in the world, his record's better than that. He should appreciate the extra half furlong after missing by a half length in the same race that Turned Aside ran 4th in. And Paco Lopez gets back on after 6 races with other jockeys, most notably having ridden Imprimis to his win in the 2019 Shakertown. One more horse to throw in is Hollis. He's decent odds, certainly good for exactas and trifectas, and, as mentioned before, in the double. He's been first or second in 11 of 16, mostly on dirt, but won the Turf Sprint Stakes last fall at Pimlico on Preakness weekend, and he enters the race off 2 big races, A races, on dirt. In the Shakertown Stakes, race 8 at Keeneland, with a post of 4:15 Eastern, I'll bet Turn to Side to win at 2-1 or better. And for exacta and trifecta, we'll just box the 4 contenders: Turn to Side, Bound for Nowhere, Imprimis, and Hollis. Moving on to the Wood Memorial, one of the 3-year-old prep races for the Derby on Saturday, April 3rd. This is race 10 with a post of 5:58 Eastern. And I think Weyburn's got a good shot. He was disregarded at 46-1 in the Gotham, but he was very competitive. I certainly didn't have him, but he just ran big. He attended the pace a half length behind the leader for the first half mile, then engaged with the leader, put him away. He was freedom fighter, then battled nose and nose the last 8th with Crowded Trade. That race was a month ago, so I don't think he's going to regress. He should move forward. And considering that race effort, him and Crowded Tail earned a 105 Equibase speed figure tied for best in the field. I think it would take significant improvement at this time of year for one of the other horses to run better than him. As such, Weyburn gets slight preference. The other one that has about equal probability to win with Wayburn is Crowded Trade. He has no knocks. He won his career debut at the end of January, stepped in the stakes company right off that, and ran his eyeballs out in the Gotham. The third place finisher, by the way, highly motivated from the Gotham, is running in the Bluegrass, so it's really just the two of them. And with no other horse in the race having run as fast as either Crowded Trade or Wayburn with that 105 figure, Crowded Trade's got some upside off the 105 figure in his third career start. Not worried about getting the distance. He's by More Than Ready, who sired Catholic Boy, who won 1.25 mile graded stakes. And he's trained by Chad Brown, ridden by Red Hot Eric Cancel. He could turn the tables on Wayburn, certainly must be considered. Then there's Prevalence, who, like Crowded Trade, has only run twice. Likewise, in his second race was a one-turn mile, in which he ran pretty impressively. After winning his debut by 8 in handy fashion with a 99 figure, Prevalence won his second start just as easily by 98, and he could have run faster. So if you consider Wayburn and Crowded Trade are around 105 echo base levels, just for a comparison, that's not too far off with improvement. What's more important is, after he crossed the finish line, it was noted by one of the astute echo base chart callers out there, Dave Litfin, who used to write for the Racing Forum, that Prevalence was urged past the wire for a full eighth of a mile or so past the finish. This shows there was a plan before the race between Gaffalione, who rides in the wood, and trainer Brendan Walsh, who, by the way, saddled Maxfield last year to a bunch of big races, to give Prevalence experience at running the distance of the next Derby prep, because most of these last ones are 9 furlongs. Being a son of Medaglia d'Oro, who has sired stakes winners like Songbird and Wonder Godot, who have won 9 to 10 furlongs, if Prevalence got that foundation by that gallop out for the extra eighth of a mile, he could win the Wood Memorial. There's no question that's possible. I have a couple issues with others here, which makes the race pretty playable. One is Risk Taking, who is the 5-2 morning line favorite. I just don't like the fact that he passed on the Gotham after winning the Withers, and he's been off for 2 months. I just question that right now. You should run every 4 to 5 weeks into the Derby. I don't like it. Brooklyn Strong won the Remsen last November, and he's been off 4 months. That's a pretty tall order against horses that have already run much more recently. In the Wood Memorial, race 10 at Aqueduct, 5:58 Eastern. Wayburn and Crowded Trade can both be bet at 2 to 1 or more. And when you bet 2 horses in a race, particularly when you have a vulnerable favorite, there's something called a Dutching tool, which really helps. Now, Amateur.com has one for free, and Dutching tool prorates or allocates your money. You can put in how much you want to bet or how much you want to win, and based on the odds, the math is done for you, so it gives you a mathematical edge. It's one of the great perks at Amateur.com. I use it all the time. For the Exacta, we're going to box Wayburn and Crowded Trade, and we'll play a second box throwing in Prevalence, so that's going to be Wayburn, Crowded Trade, and Prevalence. Moving on to one of the other Derby preps, the San Anita Derby, which is race 8 at Santa Anita, post time of 7:15 Eastern. I think Rock Your World can post mild upset here. He opens at 4 to 1, so it's not a big deal. He ran as fast as likely favorite Medina Spirit did when Medina Spirit was second in the San Felipe Stakes to now on the sideline, Life is Good. They both earned a 98 figure, but Rock Your World's on a pattern to improve significantly in his third career start and second route. Although both his races were on turf, the last one was a stakes, not a maiden, not an allowance, and he has the breeding to run on dirt just as well, because he's by Candy Ride, who's produced Gunrunner, Game Winner, and Vacoma. So his most recent workout, by the way, was the best of 82 for 5 furlongs on the dirt. I think they're ready for this race. Whereas Medina Spirit really hasn't improved his last 3 starts around 2 turns, going from 109 figure to 97 to 98. Rock Your World went from 94 to 98 and likely to improve again third career start. That's what horses do in the spring of their 3-year-old season. Medina Spirit's certainly a contender when considering exotics, but now with Life is Good on the sidelines, he may be considered, particularly in this race, to have a much higher probability to win than really makes sense, and he's a poor win bet. He certainly can win if Rock Your World doesn't transition to dirt, because his figure from the Sham was a 109, but he didn't run faster in the Lewis, and clearly second best in the San Felipe. One horse I'm definitely going to look at is Back Ring Luck. I keep saying that wrong. Back Ring Luck. Very interesting, opening at 21. He's trained by John Sadler, the same as Rock Your World. He was relegated to the maiden claiming ranks last August in only the second start of his career. But he woke up in his first dirt route in October, missing by a neck, and won his next dirt route in November. He was claimed for just $30,000 out of that race. and took 3.5 months off to mature, was entered in an allowance race at Oaklawn, a highly rated race, in which he earned a 97 equibase figure. Now, if you remember, I said Medina Spirit got a 98, as did Rock Your World. That 97 figure from allowance is as fast on the equibase speed figure scale as the others. It was such a good effort that Backring Luck was privately purchased and sent to top trainer John Sadler's barn. I just think he could make a profit here for us if he gets in the exacta. First, if he upsets for the win. I'm going to bet a few bucks on him to win. I don't want to get caught kicking myself. And there's no doubt he can get the trip either, because his sire is Malibu Moon, who happened to produce the 2017 San Diego Derby winner in Gormley. So in the San Diego Derby with a 7:15 Eastern Post Time, race 8, I'm going to bet Rock Your World to win 2-1 or more. I'm also going to bet Backring Luck at 5-1 or more. He opens at 20, so he's going to be much higher. And you want to bet more money on the lower odds horse. This is where a Dutching tool comes in, because you don't have to determine how much to bet on these two horses to get about the same amount. So that's what I'm going to do. And then for the exacta, I'm just going to box Rock Your World, Backring Luck, and Medina Spirit. Don't forget, you can get the written version of this, the Key Races and Bets blog, at amateur.com. And while you're there, become a member. Great legal online betting site with most tracks in North America, including Santa Anita, Aqueduct, and Keeneland, and available in most states. You can follow me on Twitter at UberCapper. And of course, you're watching this on my YouTube channel. You can check out other videos. Let me know if you have any feedback, and good luck this weekend.